Good evening and welcome. I am Lorraine Badley, the representative for the Diaspora for Delaware, and we're happy to unite Jamaicans, here in the diaspora movement, and to get people energized with Jamaica regarding, the help that they need out there. And we're here to promote the convention and, of course, the mapping of Jamaica. And I don't know if anyone had a chance to look at that, but what that is Jamaica wants to know where their citizens are. So we're mapping, to find out where everybody is, and that's actually a very good thing. And also there's a convention, a diaspora convention. This is the 6th one. I've been to 2, so this is going to be my 3rd. And if you can go at all, I encourage you to, because I'm telling you, when you go there, you're proud, you're tearful, you have all a host of emotions, and there's everybody. There's people from every walks of from the doctor to the lawyer to the Indian to the kitchen worker to the janitor. It doesn't matter, and that's that good feeling that you get going there. So there will be someone else that will be here. Ms. Pennock momentarily, and I would just say that listen to us, and we're going to give you a lot of information, and you will leave with a different attitude, I am sure. But before I do that, Ms. Mitzi Hamilton is going to do the invocation.
Father God, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. We thank you, God, for this opportunity of bringing us together as a people, fellow Jamaicans, God, as we meet to discuss plans regarding our country, how we can better our people and better our country. We thank you, God, for bringing us here this evening. We pray, God, that your holy presence will be among us as we discuss events. We pray, God, that you will unite us as a body, and that, God, whatever that is said and done will be done in decency and in order. We thank you, God, for this opportunity, and we pray, God, for those that are on their way, that you'll give them traveling mercies, and that you'll bless us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. It's my personal pleasure to introduce to you guys this dynamic lady to my left here, to my right, to my right, Erin Lu Hing. She is the newly elected advisory board future leader. I have to say this because you get the Jamaicans thing is very long. Future leader for the Diaspora for the advisory board. And I think Erin is going to put a spin on things in Jamaica and energize the youth out there and get them motivated. And we're looking forward to a lot of things. Junior Achievement is one already we're working on. She's going to work with young people and informing them about, well, she'll tell you what she said. I'm not going to say, she'll tell you. But I'm excited to have her on board because she is a graduate from Brandeis University, and she's currently in law school, So this could be our future president right here, born in America to Jamaican parents. So she's gonna speak to you today about her role in the future junior leader for the Jamaican youth, and I give you Erin Lu Hing.
Thank you, Ms. Lorraine, and I thank you also for the vote of confidence on many things. But yes, good evening again to everybody, and just thank you all so much for coming and for showing your support, whether you are of Jamaican descent or of anything else. I really do appreciate you all. Can you hear me a little bit better now? I think I know the answer. But again, I just wanted to thank you all for coming out here, whether you are of Jamaican descent or of some other background, but you care about what's going on, not only in the Jamaican community, but in the Caribbean community, both there in the islands, as well as how we're organized and mobilized here in Delaware. And so Delaware is just amazing. I've been here a couple of times for a number of events, and I'm just so impressed with the strength of the community that's here and what you all have been doing for a long time here in Delaware. And so I'm just very, very appreciative for that, and I'm happy to be back. As Ms. Lorraine said, back in November I was elected as the future leader for the Jamaica Diaspora Advisory Board, and we cover the Northeast region, which spans from Maine all the way down to Washington, D.C. So obviously Delaware is included in that, and it's a very, very big sprawl. So we're trying to get around to everybody with these town halls, and I represent both youth of Jamaican descent living here to Jamaica, as well as supporting the efforts and the advancement of Jamaican youth there in Jamaica, back here in the U.S., and seeing how we can collaborate to make things happen for the youth. So I just, again, appreciate you all coming here. And I'm just going to speak very briefly about what this role entails and what it functions for here in the diaspora community, and what the needs of the youth are. So I had a chance to meet with a couple of you beforehand, and I'm happy to know that several of you out here are already working with youth in the Caribbean community, in the Jamaican community, so I'm so grateful that you're here. So again, I just welcome you all, and I thank you all that are here, both in person and those who will be participating eventually via webcast for attending this town hall meeting. I just want to thank you again for your presence, for your voice, for your concern, and for your care for what's happening in the Jamaica diaspora community here in the Northeast, specifically in Delaware. So the Diasporic Advisory Board is honored to return before you here, like I said, since November, because you have humbled us by choosing us to be your representatives, your eyes and your ears, and specifically your voice to Jamaica and vice versa. So I'd like to just take a moment to again thank Ms. Lorraine Badley and Mr. Desmond Baker. He's very humbly staying quiet, but they've done a lot to make all of this happen and make all of this possible, and worked so closely with the advisory board to put this wonderful event together. So I thank you so much, and I'm going to thank my colleagues, Joan Pinnock, who will be here momentarily, as well as the alternate advisory board member, Tracy Tomlinson-Dixon, who also is not able to make it here, but you elected her as well. And just all of our advisory committee members who worked tirelessly and devotedly for all of us. So thank you all. So again, I just want to take the moment to introduce myself and speak about the role of the future leader and the importance of us, the youth, to the diaspora community. My name is Erin Liu-Ing, and I am the future leader of the Jamaica Diaspora Advisory Board here in the Northeast U.S. The Jamaican Diaspora Future Leaders are a subgroup of the Jamaica Diaspora that currently exists in the USA, in Canada, and also the United Kingdom. Now, this group covers those Jamaicans of Jamaican descent, aged 35 and under, living outside of Jamaica, so that's a wide range. Just like the advisory board members, the future leaders are representatives that serve on the Diaspora Advisory Board and participate in partnership with the Jamaica Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Those representatives are then charged with the task of educating members about the history of Jamaica, the current state of Jamaica, collecting ideas, identifying projects, and mobilizing teams to benefit Jamaica, as well as the respective diaspora locations. So it's also important to understand that although there is the formal title future leader, all young persons in the diaspora are in fact considered future leaders, or they may be current leaders in their own right. So our partnership with Jamaica, just like it would be with any community, is two ways. It's two ways. So as future leader, we are to help the domestic youth of Jamaica and the Caribbean to empower themselves and realize their fullest potential, to mentor youth both here and in Jamaica with a focus on career, entrepreneurship, and self-worth, to serve as a strategic and supportive partner with the government and non-government actors in Jamaica, to assist in forming and informing the international cultural perception of Jamaica, Jamaican youth, and the region to the rest of the world, which is very important. And last but not least, to aid in understanding the effects of globalization on Jamaica youth and how through our young spirit we may make our mark in that globalization process. And we're not limited to these goals. The US government as well as the Jamaican government are showing that they are vested in our advancement as young people, but they cannot do it alone. We are the next generation, the change that we want to see. So to realize that change, we must stay together here and assist our young brothers and sisters back in Jamaica. As future leaders, if we work together in partnership with our governments and our supporters, Jamaica and its youth may find itself on a path to greater economic and political freedom. So as I said before, many youth here in the diaspora community are already leaders in their own right. Now, as youth, we're a very special group, and I truly believe that, because young people in the community have a unique desire to give back, a desire that energizes and revitalizes like no other type in the community. So however, I have to be honest though, because since I've taken on this role, I've had an opportunity to speak to a number of young leaders and listen to their hearts. And the reality is that, specifically in this community, many young professionals and future leaders are faced with a paradoxical combination of unparalleled passion as well as painful disillusionment. And the reasons for this paradox are numerous and understandable, but all in all, diaspora youth currently express a need to be better seen, to be better heard, and to be validated by the larger community, by our elders. Now, the needs of Jamaican youth, both here and there, are unique, and they require unique consideration and support, especially from the larger community, especially from you. Even as we move forward from this town hall today, to our elders, I ask that you please help me to help our youth feel welcomed now and to more welcome them back to the table once more. In light of that, to my fellow youth, we must also indeed do our part to continue to be contributing and viable members to the diaspora. We must not get discouraged or continue to work in our own silos for the betterment of Jamaica. One of the things that we're going to emphasize today is the Jamaica Mapping Project, as Lorraine so nicely alluded to. This project was devised actually by the diaspora a year ago, and it gives us the opportunity to tell the Jamaican government who we are, where we are, what we're interested in seeing happen in Jamaica, and what we would like to contribute to Jamaica, regardless of whether or not we've already begun doing so. The mapping project is especially important to the youth because the mapping will help youth organizations and the community better understand what our assets are, which may help better inform youth policy in Jamaica, better structure our endeavors here, and better the quality of life for young Jamaicans that are now here. This survey will help Jamaica and the community here recognize our strengths, such as our strengths with technology, for example, to bolster and promote the inherent pride for being Jamaican that we all hold. It is our responsibility as youth and youth-oriented organizations to fill out the survey so that we may build the tomorrow that we all hope to see. This responsibility also applies to the Jamaica Diaspora Conference, which is going to be on June 13th, and that will span till June 18th in Montego Bay. And we'll also go more in depth about that in this town hall today. It is important that young members of the community attend the conference, for it provides the opportunity to best voice our concerns, to demonstrate who we are and what we do, and above all, to learn from each other, just as we're here today to do. There are many young Jamaicans that are doing a fantastic job contributing to Jamaica already. But however, we can be limiting ourselves by staying in a smaller pond. Attending the conference will allow us to learn how you can get involved and make a difference, to learn about whether other future leaders are doing things and what they are doing both at home and around the world, essentially networking and leveraging those networks, and voicing what you would like to see happen for youth in Jamaica and Jamaican youth here. At the conference, the world wants to know, how do you see yourselves as future leaders? How do you see yourselves making an impact? What can we do to help? And let's work together to devise structures to help. So due to the limited resources, though, that youth have, we recognize that it is more difficult resource-wise, perhaps for them to attend this conference. So as a community, we're not only committed to working with youth and youth organizations to help identify ways to alleviate this burden so that more of us might be present at this conference, but also to ensure that adequate accommodations such as live broadcasting and video feed will be available, especially to our young folks that cannot travel there. We are also not here to simply encourage youth to attend the conference, but to let everyone know that we are committed to continuing our partnership and our collaboration beyond the conference. For the conference is only the beginning. As a future leader, I'm especially committed to continuing our efforts via continued town hall meetings, events, or any other avenue that is relevant to our community. We seek to collaborate closely, especially with youth representatives that we would like to establish in all 12 of the states moving forward. Young Jamaicans have contributed so much to the United States and to the rest of the world. One of the founders of the first Black newspaper in America, for example, the Freedom's Journal, was a young Jamaican native. That youth's name was John Russwurm. One of the most instrumental literary figures of the Harlem Renaissance, Claude McKay, was a young Jamaican professional at the time that he published his first book of poems, Songs of Jamaica, in 1912. And one of our most celebrated American musical artists, Alicia Keys, who has played and sung for President Obama's inauguration, is of Jamaican descent. Again, we as youth are amazing, and we just want to give back. One of the most effective ways we are going to accomplish that is through mentorship, through networking, and leadership training. Mentorship programs such as Junior Achievement and many others through other organizations here in the Diaspora are available and able to grow. Elders, we have so much that we want to learn from you, and we have so much that we want to offer to you. So do not be afraid to also step forward and mentor us too. So as youth in the Jamaica diaspora, we are special, we are powerful, and we want to work tirelessly and unselfishly. We are here to let the world and each other know that we are a force. So let us work together to be more effective as a united diaspora, to be heard and appreciated, and to reach our fullest potential. A well diaspora is a well Jamaica. We are here to show the world that truly, out of many, we are one people. So thank you again for being here, and God bless you all. I can ask about that editorial proposition.
Thank you, Erin. Isn't she fantastic?
Thank you. Thank you. So again, we want to make sure that we disseminate more information to you all about the mapping project and about the conference, and we're going to allow our advisory board member, Joan Pinnock, to do that for you. But since we have this opportunity to talk, I just wanted to know how many of you here are involved in anything regarding youth or Caribbean youth? If nobody, I just one person, 2 people, 3 people. Would you be able to let me know what it is that you do specifically for the youth? If anybody would volunteer to let me know first. How about you? Okay. Sure. Thank you.
My name is Chanley Powell, for those, Chanley Powell. In Trinidad, we have a saying that if you're not invited, you're a stormer. So I stormed the party, but it's a good party. It's a good cause. I am really from the Trinidad Agricultural Association of Delaware, and our involvement with the youth has to do with their education. As an organization, I want us to forget the name Trinidad Tobago. As an organization, it helps all the kids in the Caribbean with scholarships every year. I invite everyone to go to our website, and you would see we have quite a few Jamaican kids who we have given scholarships to, Trinidadians, Haiti, Nevis kids, Barbados, the whole Caribbean group. And we work in the community, we raise funds, and that's where our funds go. It's a non-profit, fully volunteer board. Nobody gets paid. The majority goes to the kids. Couldn't be better than that. I hear you speak about networking. We don't discriminate. The kids apply for the scholarships. If it's 6 Jamaicans who apply, and they all deserve it, six Jamaican kids get scholarship. So we never go, it must be a Trinidadian, it must be a Grenadian, none of the sort. Okay? We do it blinders on, we don't see. Okay, and we can talk more about it.
Who's next?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Naphtali Dunkley. I recently took a trip to Jamaica sometime last year, and prior to me going, I had established here in the Newcastle County a tutoring program for high school down to elementary kids, and it's called Tally Tutoring. Recently, on my last trip to Jamaica in December of last year, it was an interesting period because it was around the end of the term period for a lot of students. And just to continue this conversation, I was intrigued to see how a lot of students were doing and how they were progressing in school. My neighborhood is not an affluent neighborhood at all. There's a lot of poor kids, a lot of ghetto kids living in there. But in the ghetto, there's always talented and educated people. The issue is you don't have the back end in order to progress. So instead of progressing, you reach to a certain point in education and begin to regress. And I felt there was a need to do something about that. So what I did was reach out to some of my contacts in Jamaica to create an extension of Tally Tutoring here in the Newcastle County to extend to Black River in Jamaica. So now my colleagues that I have in Jamaica work with a few students from Black River High School, and it's limited amount of help, so we can only service a limited amount of students. But as word spread about what it is that we are doing, that extension will go from helping a few students at Black River to helping students in Kingston or wherever it's needed, because we all need help. I strongly believe that this children of today are the leaders of tomorrow. And the best way to make a better world, to make a better Jamaica, is being able to fully educate everyone. So that's my little story.
Thank you.
Total agreement on that.
Just my cousin, so we basically work together.
Very good.
Yes, hello, my name is Dwight Jones. Longtime resident here in Delaware and the community at large. I've worked with or assisted some colleagues of mine with sports, youth initiatives, soccer, basketball, track and field, and so on, through the CCOD, Caribbean Cultural Organization of Delaware. Also, in addition to that, I work with special needs populations, autism, and do some, mentoring, volunteering. So That's the extent of my involvement with youth. But I do strongly believe in assisting the youth, of course, obvious reasons. Future leaders, and the youth are the future of tomorrow. That's it.
Thank you.
And you said you were doing that work in Jamaica, or just?
No, here, in the local community.
Okay.
Yeah, which always, could always be assisted. There always a need. The need is great.
That's right.
It's never ending.
That's right. Still last.
I think you gave me this in error.
Anybody else working with youth? And that's very good, actually, because one of the things that the Jamaican government and the Ministry of Youth and Culture are focusing on is focusing more on the special need populations, the special needs students in Jamaica, because for a long time there wasn't a proper protocol and structure in place for them. And so they're really trying to learn and catch up with that and to supply their needs. So they're making great leaps and bounds with that. So it's very interesting that you brought it up. It's good that you're working with that. And hopefully can learn more about that too and what they're doing.
And of course, I'd love to get involved and probably see what they're doing locally there.
That's good. See, you didn't even have to, I didn't have to ask my next question, because what I was going to ask was what you all were hoping to get out of this, especially those who are working with the youth. What were you hoping to get out of this town hall today? Because there's going to be an opportunity where you can ask your questions and answers, but it'd be good for us to know how best, because you are the community, so how can we best steer that? So especially for the youth and youth-oriented organizations, what were you hoping to get out of this event? And I don't know if we still have our mic, but you all seem to have pretty loud voices.
I think, what's more,
Well, I don't think I need the mic, I think I'll go without it.
I think you can hear me.
It's being recorded, so.
It's being recorded.
Oh, is it? Oh.
I'm sorry, all right, cool. Yeah, some of the questions I have as far as the community itself.
Okay.
I am not speaking specifically of the youth, but more so of just the whole Jamaican community itself.
Sure, go ahead.
I think in Delaware there is about 3,500 Jamaicans live here. And one of the things that we're trying to figure out is, as you say, what is it that we're looking for out of this? And that was one of my main concerns, was what's the end game? At the end of the day, if we were to be a member of the Jamaican Diaspora for 3 years, what would we be looking forward to say, all right, at the end of my 3 years, this is what I want to contribute to it, or at the end of my 3 years, this is what I would want, how I would like to benefit from it.
Right.
So it's a lot of things that is being said, and it seems like it's a little bit, over our head, of course. But I would like specific answers or specific suggestions, some opinions on what we can expect from that. And I'm glad that you jumped to that question. So I'll listen to what you have to say as far as that is concerned.
And so I really appreciate that. And just to clarify, we all here are already members of the diaspora, so there's no term limit on it. I understand. I understand. But one of the things that we notice here in our community is that what's interesting is that much of the world sees Jamaicans and they say, you know what, they're so unified. Jamaica's so diverse, but it's almost as though once they identify each other, it's almost like you're inducted into a club, almost. And that's how people see us, and that can be a strength, especially to the rest of the world. But what tends to happen in our community, though, is that, for example, we might identify a need, let's say, when it comes down to youth and education. And because we cannot hurdle certain barriers that we place up amongst each other, what's one of the main things that we tend to do? We tend to go off and we form our own thing. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's how we see the way to get over that hurdle. But what happens is once we start separating off and once we start making, like I said, our ponds very small, it becomes very, very difficult to expand that capacity and to leverage resources, like you said, to serve more students, to get beyond the number that we're serving right now, for example. And one of the reasons for that, like I said, is because we're separated. So we're hoping that from hearing that feedback and using, because as the Diaspora Board, we have access to, we're not an organization, we're just here to help unite those who are doing things out there, connect with them, and see how we can better support you and get you the resources necessary to better do what you do, and to partner up with those who are doing something maybe similar to you or that you can learn from to do better, to do more for Jamaica. And we have access to a power and a legitimacy that other members of the community maybe does not. So we're here not necessarily to say we are an organization, because we are not, we are definitely not, but we're here to use that and to use that access since you put us in this position to work for you. So we can definitely talk about some concrete things. We can't do that without feedback because, like I said, we're not in the position to create anything that's not relevant to you. But we're hoping that as you hear more information, especially at these town halls, and like we said, it's not going to stop here, but you can be a part of that process in making those concrete things. And of course, we have some things to offer. So I thank you.
Okay, on behalf of TDCAD, the Trinidad organization, what were we looking for? We wanted a broader support from, say, the Caribbean community. Jamaica happens to be one of them. And that's because we support all the youth. We don't segregate. But then as I said that and thought of that, I said that may seem selfish in some way. But the first thought that came to mind, what can the TDCAD organization do to help your work? To help the diaspora, Jamaican diaspora's work. I immediately thought of, okay, we have given scholarship to a number of Jamaicans over the years. Some of them have graduated, and we are talking about the kids' education. We can now invite them to attend your program, and maybe out of that, select one and ask them if they would like to be a leader among all the Jamaican students. We can give that person all the names. So you may get maybe 10 names of Jamaicans who are at school, and could have leaders right here in Delaware. So you see, it isn't a case of we being selfish, but we could help your program.
Absolutely, it's a two-way street, yes.
See, we already have the context. I was just looking into my book I brought here. Young Mr. Price, he by now should be graduated.
Wow.
Yeah. And I know there are others. I don't want to call any names, but I know a Jamaican lady, I think is a judge in the city of Wilmington. Her son recently got a scholarship. She is so excited about our program. She wants to be on our board.
That's wonderful.
There we have the son. We're talking about the youth and their education, what better way? We just have to do it together. It's in their interests, it's the betterment of the world, they have become independent young men and women. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. That's great, thank you so much. And again, there are other tutoring, for example, tutoring and educational oriented organizations, especially in this community, that are doing a lot of work to especially raise resources for scholarships for students, to figure out more creative ways to help mentor Jamaican youth. One of the things that the Jamaican government has been working on recently is supplying all school-age children with iPads, and similarly improving their internet infrastructure so that these iPads can serve their fullest purpose. And one of the things that we have been talking about in the community is the concept of e-mentoring. Not necessarily, it's not that all of the young professionals here, for example, can make regular trips to Jamaica to mentor youth. There are some youth that we've mentored up to the college stage, but there are still a lot of Jamaican youth that are either going to college in Jamaica, or they might come here and are coming to college, and they may need certain support. So there are a number of ways that can be addressed. Like I said, one of the things is e-mentoring. We have technology like Skype and other solutions where young people here, they don't have to necessarily save up the money to get a plane ticket to go down to Jamaica to simply mentor somebody. They can do it via those iPads that they have access to. They can do it via the internet. And even here, for those Jamaican youth that are here, there are a number of ways that we can support them. We can support them again through mentoring. We can support them through certain care packages. For example, Grace Kennedy has the instant forage packages where students can readily make food. I mean, there are ways that we can put things together and create care packages for them. There are a number of things. So again, as we are here and we're sharing information, we can get ideas from each other and bounce off and strengthen those solutions. Very good. So our advisory board member, Ms. Joan Pinnock, has just arrived. So we're going to back up a little bit in our program, I'm sure. And I don't know if you wanted to introduce her.
I'm gonna Okay, I won't have to get up for this. Okay, our next, first off, let's introduce our board and our members here. So we know we have Desmond Baker, the representative for the Diaspora, Delaware, and we have Mitzi, who's walking around Hamilton. We've rolled her in, she's now a Diaspora, and she's on our team, and we're representing Delaware. And that's the thing, we have to grow Delaware and more people so we can do more things. This is my effort. I've been doing this since 2010, trying to reach Jamaicans, and I think you have to be where you know you can reel them in. So hopefully we're going to get more people going so we can do more things and work together. And also we have Erin Muhing, and now last but not least we have Joan Pennock, and she is the head of the advisory board for the Northeast of the United States. So she controls 12 states. So she'll be doing a lot of things, and she'll be a go-to person, a person to talk to, and that will be involved in implementing a lot of changes that can happen to Jamaica, you know. So and as well as well, I think you would like to hear from her. So without further, Joan is a friend, not just a Diaspora person that I know, but she's a friend. And to just briefly say a little bit about her, you know how someone, there's a reason why you will reach out to someone sometimes. What I admire about her most is her love of Jamaica. Will give anything she has, or do anything for Jamaica or Jamaicans, our country, loves our country. And not just Jamaica, she's kind, you know, sometimes too much to a fault, but she will be, between her and Erin, Jamaica is lucky right now in the United States having these two women, because I think that we're gonna see action, and we're gonna see more inclusivity of just not one thing, but reaching out to youth. So also Joan will be working, Ms. Pennock will be working with the mapping, and so she'll explain that to you, and the 6th biennial conference in Jamaica, she will explain all of that to you. So I give you my newly elected advisory board head of the Northeast, Ms. Joan Pennock. She will be speaking to us.
Thank you, everyone. It is my pleasure to be here. I apologize for the delay. I was coming all the way from Boston to Connecticut through New Jersey with a snowstorm last night. So it's car trouble, all kinds of issues, but God is faithful, and I'm here. It's the important thing. Ms. Erin Muhing, future leader, Ms. Lorraine Badley, Northeast Diaspora Committee member from Delaware, Mr. Desmond Baker, Northeast Diaspora Committee member from Delaware as well, Delaware Diaspora team, Delaware community leaders, members of the Diaspora watching via Caribbean Television Network. Ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. It is my distinct pleasure to speak to you tonight about the Jamaica Mapping Project, as well as the 6th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference to be held in Montego Bay from June 13th to the 18th. I must start by commending your diaspora reps, Ms. Lorraine Badley and Mr. Desmond Baker and their team for such a job well done. I'd hoped that we would have had a lot more people here tonight, but it's my understanding that there's a funeral and a lot of people are coming in a little bit later, so I'm kind of hopeful that they will get here before we're finished. Let me tell you just a little bit about myself. I know you heard what Ms. Badley said about me, but just to tell you in my own words, I am a Christian first and foremost. God is the light of my life, and the fact that I'm here today is definitely, you know, a testimony. I was born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica. I attended Excelsior High School in Kingston. Anyone here from Excelsior? Okay. Aggie, awesome. So my family migrated. My family migrated to the United States in 1981. And I earned my bachelor's degree in languages with a concentration in Spanish. Si yo hablo español. ¿Hay alguien aquí que habla español? Is there anyone here who speaks Spanish? Yeah, there you go. Okay, so I later earned my Juris Doctor degree from New England School of Law in Boston. I have one daughter who is now married and lives with her husband in Chicago. My entire career has been spent representing Jamaicans with all kinds of legal issues. As such, I was installed in 2000 as the first president of the Jamaican American Bar Association Northeast, and I've held that position for the past 5 years. My organization provides pro bono legal services to Jamaicans in the Northeast, while giving scholarships to Jamaican law students annually, and at the same time honoring legal professionals from the Jamaican community. In January of this year, I was appointed by the Minister of State and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, the Honorable Arnaldo Brown, as the first female and fourth Diaspora Advisory Board member for the Northeast United States. Dr. Harold McNutt from Pennsylvania was the first. Does anyone know Dr. McNutt?
I know Dr.
You did? Okay, wonderful. And Patrick Bedford from New Jersey was the second, and Irwin Clare, I know everyone knows Irwin because of Penn Relays, was the third. And I must thank these gentlemen for paving the way for me. Many have asked me, what does the term diaspora mean, or diaspora? The term diaspora originates from the Greek word diaspora, which means to scatter. Therefore, a group of people with similar heritage or homeland who have moved out to places all over the world. Hence, the Jamaican diaspora represents Jamaicans who have left Jamaica to relocate or scatter, if you will, to different parts of the world. In a desire to reconnect with the diaspora, the government of Jamaica, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, in collaboration with the International Organization for Migration, the IOM, is conducting a mapping exercise of the diaspora. I must inform you that the funding for this project was provided by the IOM. What is the purpose of this survey? Diaspora mapping, according to Professor Neville Ying, Executive Director of the Jamaica Diaspora Institute, was described as one of the key strategies used by countries of origin to contribute to their economic and social development. This was based on a global phenomenon that diasporas play a significant role in the growth and development of countries of origin. Let me inform you that the Mapping Jamaica Diaspora Project is being conducted over an 18-month period and takes the form of an online survey, although there is a printed version of the form that I'm going to ask you here tonight to complete. This survey is geared towards identifying location, skills, expertise, and interests of members of the global Jamaica diaspora. I must advise you that there are two survey forms, one for diaspora community-based organizations and the other for individuals. Let me inform you that following the collation of the information garnered from the survey, it is hoped that the government of Jamaica will be in a better position to identify the gaps which currently exist in its engagement of Jamaicans in the diaspora, ranging from the first to fourth and subsequent generations. So if you're Jamaican by birth, by descent, first, second, third, fourth generation married to a Jamaican, or naturalized as a Jamaican, you may complete this form. The ultimate aims of the mapping project is to create the creation of a database of Jamaicans worldwide who are interested in contributing to the nation's development through social investment, whether it be with cash or kind, and financial investment to match skills in the diaspora with gaps that exist in Jamaica. So it's basically to put together the people that are in the diaspora to match them with whatever skills are out there. That's the purpose of the form, basically. It is worth noting that the completion of the survey by as many diaspora members as possible is critical to improving the standard of engagement of the diaspora and successfully incorporating them into national development process in key areas for growth, such as logistics, agriculture, manufacturing, information and communications technology, creative industries, energy and mining, health and wellness, and tourism. Note with regard to the understandable concerns of potential participants about the confidentiality of information submitted, that same will be kept in the strictest confidence in a database managed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade once it's been collated from the project website and analyzed. In other words, I mean, I know that there are a lot of Jamaicans here. I'm gonna just speak to you in Patois. I know a lot of people usually understand it, even if you're not Jamaican. So they're not gonna chat your business once you give them the information. They will keep everything secret and it's in the computer after they put it together. Everybody get that? All right, so I must add that the information will be transferred by a secure server and is currently hosted on the International Organization for Migration platform. As stated before, an offline version of the general survey and the group survey have been developed in order to facilitate the participation of diaspora members who may not have access to computers. I must inform you that the government of Jamaica has already designated a number of prominent members of the Jamaican diaspora as champions for the project. There are Baroness Lawrence of Clarendon, Ambassador Merle Otti, does anyone know? Okay. Levi Roots, Mrs. Dolores Cooper, OD from the UK, and Dr. Marianne Chambers, as well as Bishop Audley James from Canada. The most honorable P.J. Patterson, former Prime Minister of Jamaica, has also agreed to lend his support in promoting the mapping project. The government is currently working with the overseas missions and diaspora advisory board members in obtaining champions for the USA. I am very proud to report that my dear friend Oliver Samuels, OD, which actually means Order of Distinction and not old dog, as he would tell you. Because usually he always says that the OD behind the name don't mean old dog, it means Order of Distinction. He has actually agreed to become one of the champions, so I'm very, very grateful and very proud about that. I must urge all Jamaicans, including those who are either Jamaican by birth, descent, marriage, naturalization or registration, as well as diaspora group, to complete the mapping survey by logging on to www.mapjadiaspora.iom.int. That's www.mapjadiaspora.iom.int. Tonight we have printed versions of the forms that we're going to hand out, and we're going to ask you to complete. I'm requesting that everyone here indulge me by completing the form. There are some questions that are optional. If you're not comfortable with something, you should ask about it or skip it if you don't feel comfortable with completing it. My task is to complete 3,500 surveys before the conference in June. What is the 6th Biennial Jamaican Diaspora Conference? The conference serves as a mechanism of engagement of Jamaicans overseas. The conference addresses issues of concern for the diaspora, provide updates on progress in respect to government programs, in addition to disseminating information on the priority areas of the government. Please know that the total of 5 conferences have been held thus far: 2004, 2006, 2008, 2011, and 2013. You should also be aware that the dialogue within the context of these conferences and within the margins of same has resulted in development of a number of mechanisms and structures aimed at strengthening Jamaica's relationship with the diaspora and advancing the process of the diaspora's involvement in national development. These include the Diaspora Advisory Board, which we're part of, which serves as an advisory board to the minister on matters relevant to diaspora engagement. Jamaica Diaspora Foundation Limited with the Jamaica Diaspora Institute, which aims to deepen collaboration among stakeholder groups and serve as a repository for research for the Joint Select Committee of the House of Parliament, which serves as a guide to national approach on policies and strategies with respect to diaspora matters. Let me advise you that the 6th Biennial Diaspora Conference will be held from June 13 to June 18 in Montego Bay. The theme for this year will be Jamaica and the Diaspora, Linking for Growth and Prosperity. Please know that the conference will be held at the Montego Bay Convention Center, and the official host hotel for this year is the Hilton Rose Hall Resort and Spa. I must add that the conference is being positioned as a global forum to bring together Jamaicans at home and abroad to discuss topics and issues aligned with Jamaicans' national development agenda, as well as those affecting the diaspora in their host countries. I should also let you be aware that the aim of the conference is to identify solutions which will require policies and strategies related to the diaspora, as well as country development. Let me also inform you that there will be 2 focal areas of the 2015 conference, namely investment and trade and social services. Also related to those are 2 sub-thematic areas. Please also be aware that the opening ceremony, which is scheduled to take place in the Hilton Rose Garden on Sunday, the 14th, 2015, will be, or the keynote speaker will be the Most Honorable Prime Minister, Portia Simpson Miller, who I'm not sure if you guys are aware is coming next week. If you're not aware, she will be here next Thursday in New York. I'll give you the information after the program. Also, there is a report card on the major activities from the 2013 conference, which also will be delivered. So whatever they promised to do when we met in 2013, there will be follow-up as far as what happened, whether or not those things were accomplished. In addition, the Governor General's Achievement Award, which is scheduled to take place on the 16th of June, also celebrated as Diaspora Day, will once again be used as an opportunity to recognize the stellar achievements and outstanding contributions of diaspora members. This year, there will be 2 awards per location, namely USA, UK, and Canada. And of significance, one will be for persons under the age of 35 years old. As time progresses, we intend to present awards to other locations, including Africa, Caribbean, Central America, and Europe. Let me further inform you that the inaugural International Symposium on Immigration, this is my specialty here. I love this area. The fact that they're doing this for the 2nd time in a row. Immigration and deportation will be held on Tuesday, June 16, 2015, day 4 of the conference. The symposium was conceptualized as a result of the increasing challenges being faced by Jamaican diasporans in the areas of immigration and deportation in their host countries. If you're not aware, Jamaicans are actually the largest group of immigrants that are being deported back to Jamaica on a monthly basis. It's very sad, very sad. There is a charter plane that sends our people back every single month from Louisiana. So it's one of those things that had to be addressed and dealt with. So the symposium will hopefully, we'll get an opportunity to talk about some of those issues. I should also advise you that the symposium will focus on a number of areas: the impact of immigration laws on the diaspora in host countries, the harnessing of the contribution of migrants. Just lost my, sorry about that. The issues relating to deportation and resettlement in Jamaica. We're going to give you an opportunity tonight to ask some questions. I don't know if anyone here has anything that you want to talk about, but there is also going to be a day of service, which is the Thursday from the last day of the conference, where people will actually be able to go out into the community. So the doctors and the nurses will be able to go out and sort of give back in the form of mission to people of Jamaica who really need the help and the services. In addition to that, if you wanted to go online and register for the conference, the address would be www.jamaicandiaspora.gov.jm. That's www.jamaicandiaspora.gm, .gov.gm. The phone number, in case someone wants to call the Secretariat, is 876-926-5220 to 8. That's 876-926-5220 to 8. We're asking as many people as possible, if you're in a position, to sign up to attend the conference. It's really going to be a wonderful, wonderful experience. I've gone for the last 4 times, and I've never, ever regretted it. Thank you.
So are you taking questions? Are you taking questions?
Yes, absolutely.
Testing. At that conference, it seems to be about 4 or 5 day conference.
Yes.
Would there be activities that the attendees would appreciate the Jamaican country and culture, one? And at that culture, do you have a lot of youth attending that culture? Because the focus is on the development of the youth in local, within the US and Jamaica.
That's correct, sir. I think there's a future leader day that I'm going to allow Mrs. Erin Luhing to speak about, because there's now this new day that is designed for the youth. So I'll let her speak to that.
Erin, before you answer, the reason I ask those questions is that out of the organization I mentioned, I may be able to identify a few Jamaicans and sort of introduce through you or with you, your program, so that they could be encouraged to go to Jamaica and appreciate their country. It's just like, as I said to you, my nephew just went to Trinidad, born in the US, never been there, just went for Carnival, and he is committed, he's always going. So, you know what I mean, they need to appreciate the culture from which their parents or where they came from. So that's the reason.
Absolutely, and so as Joan was alluding to, one of the great things about this year's conference is that there's going to be a session designed specifically for the future leaders, which I will be spearheading, and a lot of that is going to be garnering from the youth what exactly it is that they want to see, how do they see this role, where they feel the gaps are, and give them that voice. But there are going to be also a number of cultural events interspersed throughout the conference, and the Ministry of Youth and Culture have been very, very active in trying to instill in the youth not only that sense of culture and that sense of history, because that's so a part of addressing some of the deepest needs of the youth, whether it's youth violence or youth health or youth education. A lot of the root is that is understanding where you are coming from, and also setting up a framework and interacting with them in a way that makes them feel proud to be Jamaican. So there are going to be a number of cultural events that are going on throughout the conference. It's also going to be rolled into the day of service. They're seeking to roll cultural events into one of the categories of service is education. So there's health, there's education, and the third one.
Well, we actually are going to organize hopefully, we call them involuntary returnees to Jamaica, the guys who've been deported and the ladies who've been deported from an immigration perspective for the first time. So we want to organize to see if they'll come out, so we can talk with them about what's going on. You were sent back and removed from the United States or from Canada or from England, the UK. What can we do now to facilitate possibly your return, if it's legally possible, but just to kind of help them assimilate into Jamaican society?
Right.
I just wanted to cut in on that a little bit, Joan, because in England, when they deport Jamaicans, and this is actually done through the diaspora, because I went to the Jamaican embassy when I was there last February, and they're very proud that through the diaspora they actually they've gotten the British government where when they deport someone, okay, so they have to deport them, what they do is they send them with somebody, a liaison on the other side, so that they don't just send them out there loose. Some of them have no family, so they send them out with a liaison, making sure that when they get on the other side that someone is there. And then I believe there is some monetary money involved in making sure that person does not prey on the Jamaican society or become, that they have somewhere and a buffer, not to just send them there like that. So I don't think currently the US has that yet, but that's something we can all, there's power in this room, every one of you, and so, we together can talk to the United States Senators, Congress, write letters, and get this thing implemented and passed so that they can, if you have to deport someone from the United States, do it with dignity. And that, I think, is what England has done, that we have not done. And so we need to fight for that change, and we can do it. Yeah, thank you.
And then just one last thing to talk to your point about culture. One of the initiatives that the, again, Ministry of Youth and Culture are focusing on is positive music, traditional Jamaican music as well as positive Jamaican music for the youth, to make sure that, again, it ties into what the roots of the culture are and what the pride of the culture are, and to instill those positive messages rather than negative ones. So if there's anything that you'd like to help with in terms of helping to not only foster that, but to also share other cultures and see how each other does things, how we can do something like that, as well as support, especially musical culture, we'd really be happy for the partnership.
Yeah, I have just a concern, really. I think and respectfully, I appreciate everything that you guys are telling us. But in other words, I think we're here in Delaware, and one of my main concerns is what can the diaspora do in Delaware. I understand speaking generally of what is expected from the diaspora in Jamaica and all of that. And most of everyone here are Jamaicans, and they live in Delaware, except for Miss Pinnock and Miss Louie. So I think if we can get a gauge more so specifically on what we can do here in Delaware, because after you got leave, I'm pretty sure most of these people, well, for me at least, I would be thinking, really, I don't really see what or didn't learn anything that is expected from us here, the Delaware chapter of the Jamaican diaspora. So I would want to get more information specifically about us here in Delaware, what we should do, what is expected from us. Everything that you guys are talking about, and we understand that. And probably that's just the talking point, that if you go to DC, you say the same thing, or if you go to Maine, you say the same thing. But specifically that you're here in Delaware, tell us what we can do. You see, even today we had a funeral for Junior. And over the years, what we have tried to do is that on the day of the repast, as an organization, not really, I'm one of them guys who is in the streets. And not when I say in the streets, I am more, can go to the little man on the block and talk to him and them understand. Are more visible. I understand that you say Ms. Badley is a representative, Mr. Baker is a representative. Respectfully, we cannot have an organization unless we can get people in. I'm not telling Ms. Badley to walk the street or go a club 1 o'clock in the night, you understand? But try find somebody who say Jason can go certain places, go hang out, and you know what I mean? Jason, I want you to go, and when you see these people, we're having a meeting, and I want you to do these things. Or when you reach, this is what we want to do for us. Like Jason is my cousin, so we have a plan that what we're going to do. And respectfully, it's good that you guys are stressing the importance of education. But we got to keep in mind that at every household where you have a person of noble position, there is probably 10 more who has never gone to college. So you cannot really exacerbate that part of the community and think that we are doing something for people. So you have to be able to go in those communities and know that they are not really in school, but we might not be able, as the gentleman said, they offer scholarship. It's not everybody we can offer scholarship to. If you can't read, scholarship can't do nothing for you. So you might be able, if you can get, oh, you got to have a microphone. You might, the little things that you might be able to do, you might not be able to give a scholarship. But if you can send a barrel of clothes and some toys and those things, and I think it would serve us more if we can say, this is what I want you guys to do. You know, the general speech is when we go to the conference, or who goes to the conference, then we can understand that. But tell us some of the things that we can do. And as I was saying, what we do at these repasts, we ask that everyone in the community, we try not to have the bereaving family pay the money for do catering to take care of food. So what we will do as a community, Ricardo bring a pot of curry chicken, Jason bring a pot of goat, Miss John will bring a pot of rice, and those are some of the simple things that we do. So when you get together then, you know, those are some of the things that I expect if we are going to have a committee as the Jamaican diaspora. These are some of the things. Somebody did a Jamaica and they can't able to put a money, then we can say, you know what, everybody can put $10. If you can put $100, that's so many times we do things and we do it for accolades and accreditation, and it makes no sense. Because if not, because the requirement is for you to give $10. I don't want you to give 100 and then go tell people tomorrow, say, well, you know, say me give them $100 for send no money funeral. That's not what we want. We want everybody as a part of this community. And then once we start doing that in Delaware, then it starts spreading, because if the tree now get no nutrients from the root, the fruit and the branches cannot come. So if we are talking about the Delaware diaspora, let us, of course, and this might be on the responsibility of Mr. Baker and Ms. Badley, to make sure that, you know, where we want when Ms. Pinnock and Ms. Lewin come, they realize that the Delaware chapter of the Jamaican diaspora really have a strong representative. And those are some of the things. And respectfully, I understand everything, you know, the talking points and all of that. But we have to get down to, you tell me where you want, we do a Delaware. You tell me what you expect us to do. Tell me how we can contribute. So therefore, if you're doing something and you say, you know what, Delaware, we need $1,000 to do this. Because if everybody walk out here now, them feel like, why this thing here really go over me, you know, because the talking points, you understand? Yes. Tell them specifically where they want them to do a Delaware. And if we can get somewhere with that.
You motivate, you use the very same words as to why I'm even here doing this, is because I was looking for an avenue to do something based on being very upset in 2010 at, my family is from St. Mary. I was born in England. But my family is from St. Mary, and I went up there to a funeral. I spent 7 years in Jamaica in school, and when I came to the United States, I was determined to hold on to my accent. Okay, so that's why, but my Jamaica is my heart. My family, my husband is Jamaican, you know, and so we try to keep that alive. But when I went up to St. Mary, where I know I went as a child, and I saw it looked like time stood still. I say this all the time because that's what I felt. That feeling is what led me here today, because I called the Jamaican embassy in Washington and I said, what's going on? I talked about the streets, the children, infrastructure, things I saw, and then I sent a proposal to the Prime Minister's office. I sent it all over the place, and then I went to the convention, and it was canceled in 2010, but they did it in 11, and I went there and was able to give my voice as to what I saw, what are we gonna do, and I think the diaspora was on its foot, but if you see, it's a difference now because it's growing, it's more of us, we're power in numbers. I joined it to look for an avenue of people that you can reach out. And you look at this gentleman right here, you Trinidad, are you? Okay, look at his organization, which doesn't matter who he helps. The diaspora doesn't have any political affiliation, so it's not PNP, it's not JLP, it's Jamaican. So it's Jamaicans helping Jamaican. And I don't know if you saw a little bookmark on your table there that I was inspired to do, and on it, one of the things I talked about is really what you just said. So, we are, I am growing and trying to look for ways, and this is one way, to do it. That I see that we're growing when I see the amount of people doing good. You're amazed at how many people are doing things for Jamaica, but through the diaspora you can connect and you can do a lot more, And so I applaud you for even, saying, I'm glad you came. That's the thing. I'm glad you're all here. I don't care, there's so much power. You could be a room full of people and walk out here and not mean anything and not have one like you, And so I really applaud what you're saying, and that we're looking for ways to grow this and to be better and to be so it's functional. I think what I'm hearing from you is, okay, we're going to do this, but what is it going to be really doing for Jamaica? That's what I think I'm hearing, and that's how I feel. On my own, I went to St. Mary and adopted a clinic. Clinic didn't have a fridge. On my own, my husband was scared out of his mind. I went to Kingston, bought the fridge at Courts, strap it on a policeman truck, and drive up to St. Mary and deliver the fridge myself to the hospital, which was putting the medicine in coolers, And so there's a lot of things that we can, that you can. And now I chose to do that, So, but I think collectively, if we get minds like yours, and and I see, Denzel, you have your hands up, and I'm going to hear what you have to say in a minute. But this is how we can get bigger and better, and we can be a force of an island that can be, I believe, in the Caribbean. Jamaica stands to be a trailblazer in what we can do to turn around a situation that's bad by its own people abroad. That we have the power to do that. But we have to criticize ourselves critically, and then, and education is part of that, and the youth, we're talking about young kids, giving them an opportunity so they don't feel left out is one of the biggest things I see, because if you fix the youth, they're not growing up angry. They're growing up because they're, even if you're poor, you have some of this, too, you're sharing. Junior achievement is one aspect. That true junior achievement, I want to see it up in the country. And actually, Alfie Mullins from Junior Achievement in Jamaica, the president, has been there for 10 years trying to push this program, and she's done an excellent job. Jamaica has a BizTown, a simulated business for children to go in and know how to open a bank account and all of this stuff. And I'm standing behind her with that because I taught junior achievement in Delaware for 7 years. So I think that I definitely will take your information because I see that you're interested, and there's a lot of power in your words, and I hear you. And you're not going to go unheard, and trust me, I'll put you in front of a lot of people. You may say, well, she never talked to Lorraine Badley before. But thank you very much, and make sure that I have your card, and make sure you have mine before we leave. That's all.
I'm Greg anyway.
You're Greg? Greg! Is this a Greg I was talking?
Yeah.
Ah, okay, I told you about him.
Well, I mean, it seems to me that what needs to happen is that Delaware needs to organize. That's what you need to do. You need to form a Jamaican organization. I did a town hall in Connecticut 3 weeks ago. They have the West Indian Social Club. They're huge, and they pay dues. They go together, they travel together, they organize, they send money down, they pay for the issues, whatever the expenses are within their organization. So you have your reps here, Ms. Badley and Mr. Baker, who can head up any Jamaican organization that you decide to form. And that's the solution, you just need to organize. So people who are willing and have the time to come together, you form some sort of a Delaware Jamaica organization, come up with a name for it, and then you just start to meet maybe once a month, once every other month, and you find ways to give back and to help the diaspora or to give back to Jamaica. That's the solution.
There is a Jamaica, what is it? There should be a WWIA, which has a building. Oh, come talk about it. See now.
Oh, so there is one.
I'm glad saying there too, I'm glad saying there. Because calling them, honestly, they're probably not going to like me when we leave here, but I'll say calling them have the building, and them have the WWIA. And we talk to Colin, numerous times that let us get the building back. But I don't know who they say how the building is hostage with $6,000. They don't know if we talk Jamaican things. So we said they not got to like me at the end of it. But them have the building and them could have give with the building. There is no bridge between our generation and Colin's generation. I think they feel like I am the slave master, anytime me dead the plantation I go belly up. So I think that's what they do. And I talk to Colin over and over about the building. Colin tell me say no, I'm in charge of the building. Colin control the building and Colin can more than give us an opportunity to come in, come pay bills. We are able to do that. I'm not going to tell you that you don't have people who misbehave and all of that. But if you ever watch people them in England, in a house of representative, I don't see nobody misbehave worse than them. So we can't do nothing worse than with them now. Them make we do something. Instead of we now try to deal with it. I'm glad say there, I'm glad to kind of make him know, make vex.
So can we hear from Colin as to why Jamaicans are not part of this organization, that they don't have access to the building? Colin?
Can I want that, Colin? When you all finish, let me show you a real example, because I hear what you say, and I think we went through the same thing. You want direction. Tell me what you want to do, and we will do it, is what he's saying. And I think everybody wants the biggest bump for the dollar. I can share with you an actual example I had, so you all go ahead.
My name is Denzel Lamont, and what I want to talk about is ways of mobilizing the people in Delaware. How do we go about contacting people to when we have events? Because we have a small turnout here, you know, and it is a start, but it is a small turnout, and we need to find a way where we can reach more people. And like myself, I follow social media. I'm on Facebook, so there are some groups on social media that we can put it out there that we're having events. Voices of Jamaica is one group, and you also have Voices for Jamaica Today, and you have Real Change for Jamaica, another group that we can put things out here where we're going to have events, and we can start putting. I see a list what's going on around for information.